Hi, I'm Debbie and this is Book and Bujo. Welcome to everyone who is new and welcome back if you've been here before. Today is my December TBRopoly. To start with, let's see how I did in November. So I am happy to say I have almost everything colored in already. I have 2 books that I'm still in the middle of, but let's just go on down the line. My first roll was an odd, and that was to read a book with a forest setting or trees on the cover. And for that I read A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah, and that is the first book in the Ashes of Avarin series, and I did read that. For my second roll, I got an even, and that was to read a book over 500 pages. Had it upside down. So a big book over 500 pages. And for that I read The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which is the second book in the Mistborn Era 1 series, and I did read that. So my third roll was another odd card, and that was to read a book with a dragon on the cover. And for that I read Ascendant by Michael R. Miller, and that is the first book in the Songs of Chaos series, and I definitely read that. So good. For my fourth roll, I landed on nonfiction, and for that I read Master Your Emotions, and that is by Debo Maurice, and I did read that. For my fifth roll, I got another odd, and that was to randomize my TBR, and that was The Watchmaker's Daughter, and that is by C.J. Archer, and that is the first book in the Glass and Steel series, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very good. All right, for my sixth roll, I landed on Amazon Borrows, which is what I call Amazon Borrows. It's actually part of the Prime Reading, so if you are an Amazon Prime member, you get 10 free book borrows at a time. So you can check out, kind of check out like at a library, 10 ebooks at a time. And it's pretty fun. It's in the Prime Reading section, so if you have Amazon Prime, check it out. But I call them Amazon Borrows. And this one I am about 55 to 60% of the way through, but I still have another week left of November, so I will definitely finish it. And that is The Secret of Oliberg, which is by Greg Walters. And this is the first book in the Oliberg University series, and I am thoroughly enjoying it so far. Can't wait to see how it ends. All right, roll number 7 was an even card, and that was to read a J.R.R. Tolkien book, and for that I read Letters from Father Christmas, and I did read that. That would be a great book to read during Advent if you have kids, or even if you don't. It's just super cute. So Tolkien basically writes to his kids as a Father Christmas or as the North Polar Bear and other kind of characters from the North Pole to his kids, kind of answering their Christmas letters, and it's just so cute. Okay, roll number 8, I landed on Booktuber Rec, and for that I read Jingo by Terry Pratchett, and that is the 21st book in the Discworld series, and I did read that. All right, so my 9th and final roll, I had landed on Buzzwordathon, which was great. And the word for November was good, and so I needed to read a book with good in the title, and I chose Good to Great by Jim Collins, and I had this as a physical book from my library, but I also listened to it as an audiobook, and it's narrated by Jim Collins, so that was kind of fun, but I did finish that. So I have completed my November TBR, or will have by November 30th, because I'm almost done with The Secret of Oliberg, over halfway through. So this means I get a reward. Very exciting. Okay, so I finished my November TBR, so I get a reward. And that is to remove 1 spin. So I do still have 4 rewards from previous months, so we'll see if I use any of those. I have swap out a prompt for a reading book, draw again to replace a prompt you don't want, skip next punishment, and double up on prompts. So I have a little pile of rewards that I'm collecting here. Yes, lots of them. All right, but the one I chose for this month is remove 1 spin. So let's see if I get to use any of my prompts. On to how many books I will be reading. All right, let's find out how many rolls I will be doing. So I have my 10-sided die. Four. All right, so I did my rolls and I only got 4. I decided instead of rolling again and adding to the 4 or trying to get a bigger number, I figured, you know what, let's just go with the 4. Let's keep it nice and easy for the end of the year and then just mood read the rest of the time. So I have readathons I'm participating in, and I always love reading a bunch of Christmas books or holiday books throughout the month. So this way I can get through my main books and then just have fun the rest of the month. 4 books it is. Left off on Buzzwordathon in November. So let's get going. So roll number 1. That is a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that is an odd card. Read an adult book. So roll number 1, I got an odd card, and that is to read an adult book. And for that, I will be reading A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan, which is the 7th book in the Wheel of Time series, and that is for the Wheel of Time read-along. So I might as well get as many read-along books out of the way as well. Thinking smart this month. Roll number 2. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Our Fantasy Bingo. Right, roll number 2, I landed on Our Fantasy Bingo, and I have probably 6 books left to complete my bingo. So it was kind of hard to decide between them because there's so many of those books that I really want to read, but there's one that's on there that I have been wanting to read for a couple of years now. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to read Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and that is the first book in the Villains series. And that one completes the prompt for superhero, and for hard mode, it's not a DC or Marvel character. Roll number 3. 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. A non-reading prompt. Right. Baking. So I guess I will be doing some baking in December. Third roll, I landed on a non-reading prompt. Maybe it's going to be even easier now. Baking. So I just need to do some baking, which, I mean, over Christmas you're going to do some baking anyway, and that actually kind of fits along with one of the readathon prompts as well. So that'll be nice. All right, 4th and final roll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Another odd card. Black or fire on the cover. Okay, and then my 4th and final roll was an odd card, and that is Black or Fire on the Cover. And for that, I will be reading Spells on Fire, which is the 2nd book of the Grimoires of Middle-Aged Witch by Renee George. And that series is super cute, and so I'm very excited to continue with that. None of the books on my book clubs or readalongs had fire or were black on the cover. So this one worked well because it's actually a black cover and it has fire in the title. So perfect. And that completes my December TBR, the last TBR of 2023. But that's not it. That's not all I'm going to be reading. There's no way I'm just going to read 4 books in a month. I mean, come on. It's me. I'm super extra, so you know I'm going to be reading more, right? Here we go. And my December reading journal plan with me will be coming up soon. I've got it all sketched out, so now I just got to get it all penned in for you. Next up is book clubs. So I have 4 book clubs that I am a part of, and the first one is the Howling Pack with the Wild Sasha, and we will be reading The Bone Shard War, which is the 3rd book in the Drowning Empire by Andrea Stewart. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find this book yet. My library doesn't have it on physical book, ebook, or audiobook, and I am on a spending ban right now, so I can't purchase one. So I'm going to keep looking and see if I can find it somewhere. If not, I may have to skip it and try and read it in the new year. Hopefully I'll be able to find it then. Or maybe cheat a little and do a little free trial someplace and get it that way. There's actually a couple books that I need to read that I can't find for free anywhere. So on Hoopla or Libby or my library, they don't have it anywhere. So I'll keep you posted on that one. So I may or may not be able to get to that one. My second book club is the Catch-Up Book Club with Becca and the Books, and we are reading Red Country, which is the 7th book in The First Law World, or the 3rd of the standalone books by Joe Abercrombie. And I actually already read that one. I finished that one in November, so free pass on that one, which is nice. And then the Backlist Book Club with Covers with Cassidy. We are starting a new series starting in December, and that is The Girl and the Stars by Mark Lawrence, and that is the 1st book in the Book of the Ice series. That is the other one I can't find anywhere. At least the Bone Shard War, it came up where I could kind of tag it and say, hey, I'm interested in this book, can you get it? Like The Girl and the Stars, it doesn't even come up in their database for my library, so we'll see what happens. So those are the 2. They're both book club books, and I would love to get to them, but if I don't, then it's not the end of the world, and I can hopefully maybe catch up later. And then the 4th and final book club book is the J&R Book Club with Jashi Curran, and we are reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, and I'm very excited to get to that one. I've had that one actually on my want to read list for a while, so it's kind of nice to be able to get to that one. And that one I was able to find. Now for read-alongs. First up is Around the Disc in 800 with Literary Diversions. And we're reading all of the main books, but I've actually been trying to find all the little short stories that kind of go in between. So one that's not actually part of the read-along, but one I want to try and find and read, and that is The Sea and Little Fishes by Terry Pratchett, and it's book 22.5 in the Discworld series. But the ones we're actually reading for the read-along is books 23 and 24, and those are Carpe Jugulum and The Fifth Element, both by Terry Pratchett in the Discworld series. And those my library does have. Those my library do have? My library does have both of those, if I could say proper English. For the Cosmere, we are rereading The Hero of Ages, the 3rd and final book in the Mistborn Era 1 series by Brandon Sanderson. I'm excited for that. I do also still have White Sand Volume 3 to finish. I did finish Volume 2, so I just need to finish Volume 3, and then I'll be caught up with the Cosmere read-along. And we don't have too many books left in that read-along, but I do want to continue with Mistborn Era 2 because I have not read that, and I want to finish all of the short stories and things that are in the Arcanum Unbounded. Next up, Readathons. So I have 2 year-long readathons that I've been participating in. Well, actually 3, but I already completed one. That was the A to Z challenge. That one's done. But the next one is the Buzzwordathon with Kayla from Books and Lala. And for December, it is a sound-related word, and that is The Magic Sleigh Bell by W. Peter Elliott. We have bell, plus you have sleigh bells, which 2 different sounds, but also both sounds. The other year-long readathon that I participate in is A Year in Aldea, or Adventures in Aldea, by G at Book Roast. And for December, we're at the end. Very exciting. So here we have Karasu's journey down this side, and we're finally to the last couple of prompts. In November, he had a transformation spell, and that was to read a mystery or thriller, which technically he kind of did both of the options, which was apply odd glyph to your conduit, random number generator. I had that on my TBR as well. But we went with the mystery or thriller, and so he completed that one. And so now he has to either turn into a phoenix or the glyph lights up. And that one is a fox on the cover or title, but he decided, yeah, he wants to be a phoenix. He can already turn into a raven. But if he could turn into a raven and a phoenix, that would be pretty cool. And so that's his plan. And so he has to read something with a book with fire in the title, which we already know we have, Spells on Fire by Renee George, which is the second book in the Grimoires of a Middle-Aged Witch series. And once he completes that, he then learns how to shapeshift into a phoenix. And then for Ariel, she has gone on the other side of the path. So Karasu went this direction. Ariel's going this way. I mean, if you're doing one character, you really could go all the way across whichever options you want, but I decided to stick to one side for each. And for November, she visited Old Favor Pass, which was a winter setting, and she read Letters from Father Christmas by J.R.R. Tolkien. And so now she gets to choose either Wallace Winter Wanimal Shop, a holiday read, or you can find an owl cat cub, an owl or a cat on the cover. So technically she will be reading from both because we will be having holiday books as well as books with cats on the cover. And the book she chose actually has both a cat on the cover and it's a holiday book. And she will be reading Lost Christmas by A.A. Albright. And of course, definitely a cat. Takes up almost the whole cover. And once she has completed that book, she then gets to have a pet owl cat, which is super exciting. Next up is the December readathons. So of course, we'll just go ahead and start with everyone's favorite. And that's G at Book Roast. And we are going back to Old Favor Pass. And we can visit one place, we can visit all 7 places, it doesn't matter, you can visit the same place multiple times. And we also have our Old Favor Pass passport. My camera rudely shut off in the middle of me talking about my readathons, so here we go again. We've got our Old Favor Pass passports, so every time you visit you get a stamp, and that can earn you more points towards your calling each year as you participate. So again, you can visit one space, you can visit all the spaces, you can visit none of them, you can visit the same one every day, however you want to do it. So I picked out a book for each spot and we'll see how it goes from there. So the first one is Occult Premonitions, and that is a prompt based on a random tarot card. And my tarot card came up as Two of Cups. Ariel will be reading Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, and Karasu will be reading A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan. Both of those are ones I need to read anyway. The second place we can visit is Owl Cat Cafe, and that is listen to an audiobook whilst crafting or craft in the title of the book. And I will be reading for Ariel, she'll be reading Carpe Jugulum, which by Terry Pratchett, which is the Discworld series. And Karasu will be reading Spells on Fire by Renee George, and I will hopefully be doing those both whilst baking. Shop number 3, we have a Shank and Shaw legitimate retailer, and that is to steal a book from someone else's TBR. Ariel will be reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo, which is on a whole lot of people's TBR if they are part of the JNR Book Club. And then for Karasu, he'll be reading The Fifth Element by Terry Pratchett, which again is on everyone's TBR that is participating in the Discworld read-along. Shop number 4, we have Wallace's Wonderful Winter Wanimals, and that is to read a book with snow or ice on the cover, and I actually have quite a few of those because I have a lot of holiday books that I want to read. And Ariel will be reading The Advent of Winter by Dawn McDermott, which is actually a compilation. It's an anthology of a whole bunch of different short stories by different fantasy authors. So I'm so excited to get into that one. But Dawn from Dominish Books put that all together and had a Kickstarter for it. And it starts on December 1st. If you signed up for the Kickstarter, you get an email starting December 1st, and you get one every day until Christmas. So very excited for that one. And then Karasu will be reading Lost Christmas by A.A. Albright, which Ariel is actually also reading for the year-long readathon, Adventures in Aldea. doubled up on that one a little bit. It's okay. Karasu will be reading The Magic Sleigh Bell by W. Peter Elliott, and that is also the book that I am reading for Best Wordathon. Shop number 5, we have Smith and Friends and Sons, Arcane Goods and Such. And that is the last book you added to your want to read list. And for that, Ariel will be reading Madame Bovary. And Karasu will be reading Rewriting Christmas by Anne Stang. Shop number 6, we have the Old Tales bookstore, and that is to read a book you wanted to read this year but had not had the chance yet. And Ariel will be reading Vicious by V.E. Schwab, because I've definitely been wanting to read that one. And then Karasu, one of my most anticipated reads for the holiday season, and that is Stalking Around the Christmas Tree by Jacqueline Frost, which is the 4th book in Christmas Tree Farm series. And then for shop number 7, of course, we have The Rich Pigeon Pub, and that is to reach out to someone this festive season. Ariel will be calling my sister and having a fun little holiday chat with my sister, and hopefully my nieces and my nephew, as well as my brother-in-law. And then Karasu will be spending time with family that's actually in the area, so we will be spending Christmas with my in-laws, so we will have some extra time with them and spend some special time together. And last but not least, we have the Reindeer Readathon with Eric from Break Even Books, and I participated last year and I was on Team Snowflake, which was co-hosted by Noelle at Noelle 7 Pages, and this year I am on Team Mistletoe, which is actually Eric at Break Even Books. He's hosting that team, so very excited for that. And you have up to 10 books that you can read. You can only submit up to 10, no more than that. And so you have 9 reindeers, and then you have 5 bonus prompts that go along with those 9 prompts. It's not any extra books, it's the same book, it's just extra points if you complete both sections of the prompts. And then if you finish all of those, so the 9 prompts with the 5 extras, then you can read one other book, and that is any prompt that you liked and you want to read another book for that prompt, you can get points for that. So here's what I plan to read for that. For Dasher, you get 15 points, and the book needs to contain one of the first 5 words that you find in the word search. So he has a big word search and a huge list of words that can be found in there. And I found Secret, Blood, Game, Gold, and Storm. Those were the first 5 books I found. And to find a book that has one of those words in it that was somewhat holiday themed, I went with The Secret Santa Mystery. Prompt number 2 is Dancer for 15 points, and that is a 5+ word title, and I will be reading The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Prompt number 3 is Prancer, and that is 10 points, and it's a book set in a place you've never been, and I will be reading Madame Bovary. Prompt 4 is Vixen, and that is for 20 points, and it's a book you've been putting off, again, Vicious, the first book in the Villain series by V.E. Schwab. And then we have Comet, also for 20 points. Book starts with the first letter of your star sign, and I'm a Sagittarius, so that would be an S. So I will be reading A Stalking Around the Christmas Tree by Jacqueline Frost, which is the 4th book in the Christmas Tree Farm Mysteries. And then Cupid, 15 points. Multiple point of views, and I'm going out on a limb to say this is correct because I'm not actually sure, but the rest of the books have been, so I'm going to say A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan, which is the 7th book in the Wheel of Time series. I'm going to assume we're going to have at least 2 point of views, if not 3 or 4, so here's hoping. If not, I will have to punt and find a different book. Next up is Donner for 15 points, and that is multiple animals on the cover, and I'll be reading Carpe Jugulum by Terry Pratchett, which is the 23rd book in the Discworld series. Next up is Blitzen for 20 points, and that is to do a dice roll, and each number equals 100 pages. So here is my dice roll results. So I rolled a 3, which was actually a little unfortunate. Most of the books that I wanted to read for this prompt had 100 to 200 pages, or they had like 500 to 600 pages. I struggled to find a 300-page book. So I took one I actually wanted to read in November just as an extra book if I had time, and I moved that to December instead, and that is A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Banking by T. Kingfisher, and that is just over 300 pages. And then the last of the 9 prompts is Rudolph, or the last of the 9 reindeer, is Rudolph for 20 points, and that is Came Out Before You Were Born, or in 2023. Most of the books on my TBR, with the exception of one, came out after I was born. Madame Bovary is most definitely before I was born, but even Discworld came out after I was born. Wheel of Time books after I was born. Getting old. So I went with one that is going to be released in 2023, and that is The Advent of Winter by Don McDermott. And he is with Dominish Books. Okay, now these 5 bonus prompts are in conjunction with the other prompts. So the Christmas Star, you get an extra 25 points if one of the prompts you have, one of the books you already have picked out of the 9 is also over 500 pages, which of course, A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan definitely is. And then Christmas Lights, you get an extra 15 points if you read an ebook, and The Secret Santa Mystery is an ebook, and that is for the Dasher prompt. Christmas Carols, you get 20 points, and that is to read an audiobook, and I definitely have a few of those, and I will be reading Stalking Around the Christmas Tree, which is also for the Comet prompt. Christmas Elf, 15 points, and that is a TBR vet, and of course, that will be Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and that was from the Vixen prompt. And then finally, for the bonus prompts is Christmas Tree, and that's 20 points, and it's a book you wouldn't typically read, and that is Madame Bovary, which is also for the Prancer prompt. Now, I was trying to read a classic every month, and I was doing that last year. I didn't do quite so well with it this year, but classics aren't necessarily my go-to. That's why I was trying to read one every month just to kind of broaden my horizons, but it's not a go-to book for me like fantasy or sci-fi is. And then lastly, if you complete all of your prompts, all 9 of the reindeer prompts plus your 5 bonus prompts, then you can complete another one, and that is Slaying It, and you get 50 points, and that is to redo one of the above prompts for extra points. So I will be redoing the Comet prompt, which is a book that starts with the first letter of your star sign, so Sagittarius, and that would be an S. So I will be reading Spell on Fire by Renee George, which of course is the second book in the Grimoire of Middle-Aged Witch book series. So 10 books total, hopefully will be read. If not, that's okay. And hopefully I can get all the points possible for Team Mistletoe. What readathons are you participating in this month? Are you doing Buzzwordathon, or have you been following along with the Year in Aldia? I would love to know what you've been reading for those. And also, are you participating in the Reindeer Readathon with Eric at Breakeven Books? And what shops do you plan to visit in Aldia for the Winter Magical Readathon? I'd love to find that out as well. Leave that down below. That is it. So a super tiny TBRopoly this month. We'll see what January brings in the new year. I'm thinking of maybe adding some more spots to the board instead of having just odd and even cards, or maybe switching up some of the prompts that I have in there. We'll see what January brings. But thank you so much for watching, and if you've made it this far in the video, don't forget to smash that thumbs up button for me and put a comment down below, and let's leave a reindeer emoji or a sleigh emoji, either one works, to let me know that you were here. And please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other videos coming up, like my December reading journal setup, if you want to check that out. And until next time, keep reading.